Last time on Left Behind.
If we can beat the GC to my apartment, I'm gonna grab as much of my stuff as I can in 60 seconds.
Well, then where?
Where do you live?
Where do I live?
You got it. There's nothing I can do now but shoot him full of morphine. Maybe knock him out before he dies.
Something! Give me something!
Every conversation in every bugged room or hallway is being recorded.
To where?
Well, there's a bank of miniature discs embedded in the central processing unit.
How's he doing?
I'm sorry, Buck. He's gone.
Based on Assassins, the sixth book in the best-selling series, Tyndale House Publishers proudly presents episode 63 of the dramatic audio edition of Left Behind.
Something's going on. It could be the loss of Floyd. Whatever it is, give him the peace.
He's lost so many people, God. I pray you'd comfort him. Show him how much we
I
love
don't
him.
know Rayford that well, but I know he's hurting. So I pray with my brothers and sister here that you would work. He needs you.
God of all comfort, and we pray with one heart that your servant Rayford would experience your supernatural...
Daddy!
Sorry. So sorry.
It's okay, Daddy.
I thought for a minute I was getting voted out of the club.
We would not even let you resign. We've all been through a lot today. Leah, I would like to ask you if you would mind waiting until tomorrow to tell us your story.
I was going to suggest the same thing. Thank you.
Do you have a problem staying in Floyd's room?
Not unless anyone else has a problem with it. And I know this sounds weird, but I won't sleep well unless I have a sense of the rest of the place. Could I get a quick tour just so I know where everything is?
Yeah. Chloe and I'll show you. I'll check on Kenny.
Good night, all.
This is kind of a sitting area. It's been rebuilt since the quake. A tree smashed through and killed the wife of the owner.
You knew them?
Her husband was at our church, and he died at the same time.
Donnie Moore. He was a genius with computers.
I'm sorry. There's a condo next door. Do you use it?
There's nothing in the other flat. It's in pretty bad shape. All right, so you've seen the kitchen. To the left is the living room, and then the dining room. We almost never eat in here, but we get a lot of work done.
The co-op.
Yeah. And Buck writes here. Past the stairs, there's a bathroom, and then the front room where Buck and I sleep with the baby. Right up there.
I hope crying babies don't bother you.
I love kids. It's not a problem.
Well, there's another bath here at the top of the stairs, and then Rayford's room. Sion's in that room, and this is Floyd's.
Where did Ritz stay?
I wasn't aware you knew he'd lived here.
I'm not supposed to know he lived here? I knew Dr. Charles and Buck and Hattie lived here.
I just didn't know, that's all. I hope it doesn't make me sound suspicious.
Suspicious of what? You want to examine my mark? Mr. Steele, something gave you the confidence to bring every emergency my way. If I wasn't trustworthy, would I have risked my life for you?
I'm sorry,
Really? If I wanted to earn points with the GC, I would have tipped them off when Hattie miscarried Carpathia's child. I would have reported Dr. Charles for incinerating the remains instead of following procedure.
Leah.
And Ritz. Buck got me to release him with a gaping head wound. You think I didn't know who you people were and why no one could know where you lived?
Miss Rose.
It's Mrs. Rose.
Sorry. You're right. I'm just...
Run me through any grill you want, but I won't have you suspicious of me.
Would a tough day be an excuse?
I've had one too. Tell me you're not afraid of me before I turn in.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
Forgive me if I overreacted.
No, don't give it another thought. Now get some rest. Feel free to use the bathroom before the rest of us if you'd like.
You're telling me you trust me?
I'm tired, Mrs. Rose. I apologized. I'm convinced, okay?
No.
No? I have to get to bed.
You think I'm blind or what?
Excuse me?
Where's the shelter?
You don't want me to be suspicious, and now you ask about a shelter.
You don't have one?
Why would you ask about something that nobody
This
in here has
is
ever...
worse than your thinking me a subversive. Now you think I'm stupid.
Not anymore, I don't.
If I hid in a safe place, I'd assume its security would one day be compromised. Either you have a place to run on a moment's notice, or this place turns upside down. Plus, what about Hattie? She sleep outside?
Hattie?
Yeah, remember her? No seal on her forehead? Gave Doc Charles the plague? Where does she sleep?
Go to bed, Dad. I'll show her.
Thank you. You can be obnoxious, Mrs. Rose. Do you know that?
Dad, we deserve that, and you know it.
Okay, now that was sexist. You'll call me a feminist, but if you'd insulted a man like that, you wouldn't call him obnoxious.
I probably would have. But the point's taken. Promise me we can discuss a truce tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Dad?
Chloe, I was almost asleep.
Hattie's gone.
What?
I was showing Leah the cellar. Hattie's bed's empty and she's not in the house. And a lot of her stuff is gone.
Check the shed for Ken's car and make sure the Rover's still in the yard. She couldn't get far on foot. I'll get Buck. We can each take a vehicle, start looking for her if she didn't take one of them.
She knows way too much to be out of our sight.
Combined with the fact that she's half nuts.
If she got someone to pick her up, we'll never catch her.
And here I was worrying about Leah.
Nothing here either, Ray.
She must have been planning this for a while. There's no way she does this on the spur of the moment. And she used Doc's fuel.
I got a bad feeling about this. It's not like we can report her missing or anything.
I got one other idea. Meet me back at the house.
All right, heading that way. You've reached the Powell-Walkie Airport office. Leave a message and I'll get back as soon as I can.
T, this is Ray. If you're there, I need you to pick up. T, if you're there, please pick up.
Hello?
Sorry to wake you, T.
No, it's okay. What's up, Ray?
Hattie's missing. We don't know how long she's been gone, but we have got to find her.
Oh, man.
I was wondering if Tweedledum and Tweedledummer are still kicking around out there.
No.
Did Ernie ever come back?
No, I haven't seen him for almost a year. You think?
Just a hunch. Hattie used him before, thought she might try to get somebody to fly her out of there.
I left at 6. Had a guy in the tower till 9. We shut down after that.
Any way I can find out what left there this evening?
Yeah, I can check the log.
I don't want you to...
Oh, relax. I can do it from here. Anything else going on out there?
We lost Doc Charles. Buried him this evening.
No, Ray. Sorry. You don't suspect Hattie?
No. Floyd contracted something from her, compliments of Carpathia, but that's not why we need to find her.
Well, I'm scrolling through here and not much traffic tonight. Mostly small stuff, business plates, a couple of GC. Hey.
What?
And a weird entry. Oversized Quantum. That's like a huge Lear, different manufacturer. Arrived pilot only at 22:30, left at 23:30 with a fuel top off, no cargo, one unidentified passenger, destination unreported.
Bingo. Any other info?
Just a payment column. Says the flight was okayed by BH.
Huh. Bo Hansen.
Yeah,
What kind of speed and range are we talking about on the Quantum?
maybe a half faster than the new Lears. Better range though, probably needs one more top off if they're going overseas. How far you figure she's heading?
She thinks she can march into Carpathia's office and blast him to Kingdom Come.
Hello.
There's no catching her, is there?
No. What is it? Almost 1. That thing's been airborne at max speed an hour and a half. Even with 20 minutes on the coast with fuel, it's still going to be too far away by now.
Yeah, I guess so. I appreciate it, T. I'll try to get out to the Strip for some co-op business tomorrow.
You mean today?
Yeah, right.
Captain McCullum, I have a message from the Supreme Commander.
Oh, what's this?
Personnel authorized on the flight to Botswana.
Commander, valet, assistant, cook, 2 Sir.
2 aides will accompany the President of Botswana. Note that the Supreme Commander has decreed that the plane shall be stationary while the Botswanians are aboard.
Yeah, I see that. What's this about my first officer?
The Supreme Commander believes you'll be pleased by the resolution of the matter.
Oh, right. Abdullah Smith. Good man.
The Supreme Commander wrote you a note here.
Wonderful find. Smith will make a great contribution to the cause. Agreed. What else?
Director Hassid wants to see you. I'll show you into his office.
Thank you.
Captain, thank you for coming.
Director?
Get this. It's from Ray.
Oh, man. The doc dies and the girl lives? Go figure.
It gets worse.
And after the funeral found Hattie missing? Palwaki flight? He doesn't really think she...
Let me get rid of this while I'm thinking about it.
Good idea.
I understand she's a bit on the ditzy side, but she'd have to be certifiably loony to think she could get through this fortress.
Yeah, it's a miracle she survived this long, all the ways Carpathia's tried to get rid of her.
She shows her face in New Babylon, she's history.
My guess is she's holed up somewhere waiting to surprise him.
I don't think she'll be able to get within 10 miles of him.
Listen, David, your people loaded 2 sets of metal detectors on the 216 last week. What's up?
Even foreign dignitaries get scanned. Of course, that's due to a basic distrust of P2, you know.
Yeah. Fortunato's got all 10 kings primed for that snuffing.
Right.
It's like he wants them fighting over who gets to off Super Pope.
How many of them do you think are really loyal to Carpathia?
More than half of them. Not more than 7, though. I know 3 would take control today if they were given half the chance.
You really think they'd take Carpathia out?
In a New Babylon minute. Of course, Pete would, too.
You think so?
I've heard him say it. He rubs Carpathia raw, pretends to be cooperating, and Nick plays it all smiles. Now, I'll tell you what, if Leon doesn't get rid of Matthew soon, he's going to have to answer for it. Nick wants it over with.
I should have noticed sooner.
Well, Hattie had a plan. How could you have known?
I just wish I could be more involved.
Involved? Hun, you're a big part of this. Nobody can do what you're doing with the co-op. Imagine the millions who will depend on you for food and supplies. It'll keep them alive, you know.
I just still feel like I'm on the outside. I spent most of today with Dad.
Well, he needed you.
And there are things that I need, too.
Hey. Want me to watch Kenny so you can go with your dad to talk co-op at Palwaki tomorrow?
Oh, that would be such a break.
Good. That's the plan, then.
I've been thinking more about Dad. It's almost like he's in a depression. Maybe we'll talk about it on the way to Palwaki. You think I should bring it up? Buck?
What? Huh? Sorry, hon. Sorry. Something about your dad?
Never mind.
You wanted to see me,
I
sir?
want to know where those computers are and why they aren't being installed as we speak.
Sir, the gross of
the biggest single shipment of hardware since we equipped the castle,
Yes, sir.
the palace. You know what I'm talking about. The more you hem and haw, the more suspicious...
No, sir, of course I know. We took delivery of those yesterday, and...
Where are they?
Well, they're not in the position to be directly moved into
Hassid!
Yes, sir.
Sit. Please. Now, what is wrong with them?
It's a technical thing, sir.
A glitch?
It's an orienting problem. Positioning renders them inoperative in the palace.
Do they need to be replaced?
That would be the only solution. Yes, sir. I've tried everything.
Then replace them. You understand me, don't you, Director Hassid?
Yes, sir.
His Excellency is eager that we get a handle on this. I have assured him you will complete this assignment.
We'll get the equipment installed as soon as humanly possible.
I'm not talking just about the installation. I'm talking about tracing the opposition.
Of course. I talked with the potentate about that earlier.
His
and
Excellency is a pacifist, as you know. But he also knows the power of information. Would you not agree?
Agree with what, sir?
That His Excellency has reason to be concerned about this Ben Judah and his former publisher who spews propaganda.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Dangerous. I mean, if there were just small pockets of these types out there, who cares? But they seem to have rallied under the banner of...
Exactly. And they're harboring the mother of His Excellency's child. She must be found.
You think it'll work?
Hey, you're the one with all the ideas. You tell me.
I just won't feel safe until we've made it to Lab.
Should be on the ground in about an hour. Drive will take about another 3.
You know, Sam, I can't thank you enough for your help.
You can thank my brother. He's the one...
What? What is it?
Radar.
What about it?
Another plane.
What? Following us?
Actually, closing.
Oh, man!
It might be nothing.
And it might be GC!
Calm down.
No!
We're gonna be okay. We'll get to the airport and take it from there. Just hold it together, Hattie.
Cameron, if I had known you were coming, I would have fixed you something.
Oh, no need, Doc. I'm gonna get a head start on my writing. I'm on baby watch later.
I see. I miss Floyd and our morning talks. He had such a good mind. Many questions.
I don't have his mind, but I do have questions, Doc. Your commentary about the second woe, this 6th trumpet judgment...
Which I am late on.
You were wrestling with something yesterday.
I still am.
Well, what is it?
Well, I believe when the scriptures say the writer saw something in a vision, it is symbolic. But when the writer says that certain things happen, I take that literally. The passage I am working on, where John sees in a vision 200 million horsemen who have the power to slay a third of the remaining population, by necessity it seems figurative. I doubt these men and animals will be literal beings, but I believe their impact will be very real. They will indeed slay a third of the population.
You really don't know, do you?
Yet I feel a great responsibility to the readers.
When's this judgment supposed to happen?
All we know for sure is that it comes next chronologically, and that it must occur before the midpoint of the tribulation. This is the passage.
So the 4 angels who had been prepared for the hour and the day and the month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. Now the number of the army of the horsemen was 200 million. I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision. Those who sat on them had breastplates of fiery red, hyacinth blue, and sulfur yellow. And the heads of the horses were like heads of lions. And out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and brimstone. By these 3 plagues, a third of mankind was killed by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone which came out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails are like serpents having heads, and with them they do harm. Lovely.
And with all this, still those who are not killed do not repent.
And the judgments keep on coming.
I'm calling a break on work in the cellar for a day. Chloe and I are meeting with T this afternoon. All right, nothing else on my list. Mrs. Rose, the floor is yours.
Well, first, I want to thank you for letting me stay last night, even though I'm still not sure everyone trusts me at this point. From what I gather, you people were fairly normal before the rapture, except that you weren't believers. I was messed up. I grew up in a home where my dad was an alcoholic, my mother a manic depressive. My parents' fights were the neighborhood entertainment. They divorced when I was 12. By the time I was 15, I was sleeping around, doing drugs, nearly killed myself more than once. I had an abortion when I was 17, dropped out of school and lived in a friend's apartment. I drank and smoked more than I ate, wandered the streets. I finally hit bottom. I knew if I didn't do something, I'd be dead soon. Did the rehab thing, and somebody saw some potential in me. I got back into school, graduated a year late with almost straight A's, and worked as a nurse's aide and a signer for deaf students to pay for community college. That's where I met my husband. He put me through state school and a nursing program. I couldn't have children, so we adopted 2 boys. Peter and Paul. My in-laws were religious, but my husband hadn't been to church in years, and he always wanted sons with those names. One of the chaplains at the hospital tried to convert me. I was offended. The woman who ran the daycare center sent Bible stories home. I told her to mind her own business. That morning, that awful morning, I found my boys' beds empty. It was the worst day of my life. I thought they'd been kidnapped, and the police couldn't help because all kids had disappeared. I called the hospital chaplain, but he was gone too. I called the daycare center, but the director had vanished. I raced over there and found some pamphlets in a rack in the waiting room, and that's where I first read that someday true believers would disappear into heaven with Jesus. I stuck it in my purse and headed home. No! I found my husband in the garage with his car running.
I'm so sorry.
He'd left a note. He said he was sorry, but he couldn't live without the boys.
Do you need a break, dear?
No. I tried to kill myself. I swallowed everything in the medicine cabinet, but God must not have wanted me dead. I woke up a few hours later, and I found that pamphlet. Somehow it finally made sense. It predicted what had happened. The solution, you know this, was to ask God to forgive me, and I knew I had plenty that needed forgiving. I didn't know if it was too late, but I prayed just in case. I found the strength to get out of there. I looked for anybody like me, and finally found them in a little church. There are about 60 of us who meet in secret. I'm gonna miss those people. They knew I'd treated a GC fugitive, so they won't be too surprised I'm gone.
We can get word to them that you're safe.
Am I safe? Do I get to stay?
We always vote. But as for me, Leah, I think you have found a home.
I hate talking on the phone like this, or through email.
Well, so do I, but we can't risk anything.
Maybe we should tell somebody about our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
By policy, I'd be forced to move to another department, but at least we could see each other. We wouldn't have to hide it.
Yeah, and that'd give us another pair of eyes in a different department, but... Honey, right where you are is strategic. I mean, we can smuggle stuff into believers' hands anywhere we want, but... I keep thinking. I can't stand being apart from you.
What's wrong?
Well, the monitor's just powered up.
Oh, must be some kind of Carpathia announcement.
Yeah, or Fortunato, or they do this anytime there's something important. Wait, it's a plane crash.
Oh, no.
There are only 2 people aboard. I wonder why the GC wants us to... Wait.
It's not a GC official, is it?
No. Well, there's a crawl going across the bottom of the screen. Attention, GC Palace personnel. Probable victims in this crash are as follows. Interesting. Pilot Samuel Hansen, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Oh no. It says the female passenger was Hattie Durham.
Left Behind, the dramatic audio series, is based in part on the book Assassins by Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins, and has been adapted for radio by Chris Fabry, with music by Steve Wick. Directed and produced by Todd Bastide. Left Behind, the dramatic audio series, is a production of Gap Digital and Tyndale House Publishers. Thank you for listening.